Biographer Mark Bego met Aretha Franklin and interviewed her at her home in suburban Detroit for his book, The Queen of Soul. He told me her talent made her great and her background made her strong, including a childhood full of some of the most inspirational figures in American life,
like Martin Luther King, and the great blues singers like Dinah Washington and even Billie Holiday would be friends of her father's, because her father was a very prominent preacher in Detroit, especially in the black community. He presided over New Bethel Baptist Church, where she, Aretha, and her sisters Carolyn and Irma got their start singing in the church choir. So she had known Martin Luther King way before his funeral. So he was a personal friend. So it wasn't like she just kind of, latched onto his bandwagon. She had grown up knowing him. So it really was a tragedy, a personal tragedy, when the assassination happened. So she was, of course, front and center for his, funeral. And very close to, obviously, all the Motown stars as well. I mean, that was one of the things about Detroit, the Detroit that Aretha came out of, is all these wonderful musicians were there waiting to be discovered and waiting to become stars. She was lifelong friends with Stevie Wonder and Smokey Robinson, Mary Wilson, Diana Ross, and Florence Ballard of the Supremes. They were all neighborhood kids that she knew. In fact, Mary Wilson had auditioned for Aretha's sister's vocal group. Mary was just telling me stories about Aretha and Carolyn. So it really was kind of a tight-knit circle. And the fact that Aretha joined Atlantic Records much earlier than Motown was hugely successful. She didn't end up a Motown star, but she's kind of associated with all these Motown figures as well, because she knew them.
I was just watching footage of her life. I was watching footage of her perform in Amsterdam in 1968, and so the only African American, the only black people at that gig are on the stage. Everyone in the crowd is, kind of young and wide-eyed and white. And I was looking at her, and she's magnificent. I mean, not only is she one of the greatest vocalists that we have ever heard sing, but also she had a charisma and a self-belief. I mean, she is the regal person in that room, and she is owning it. And it was such a powerful statement, wasn't it, to see an African-American woman behaving like that?
It's amazing. I mean, the title, The Queen of Soul, for her, which is, of course, also the title of my best-selling book about her, but it's a title that was earned on so many levels. I mean, not only was she the empress of introducing the world to real soul music, real, where you open up your heart in every song, which is something she became famous for. So, the soul aspect was there, but she really had a regal sort of persona. And as you said, when you were in her presence, whether it was seeing her on stage or for me sitting on the other side of the sofa in her living room, there's no question that she was someone important and someone who was very caring and very sincere and had an aura about her.
Change, 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 change.
Mark Bego, who wrote a biography of Aretha Franklin.